US President Barack Obama has threatened to punish North Korea for what he's described as bad behaviour. His comments were made in the South Korean capital Seoul ahead of a nuclear summit which kicks off on Monday. Obama's referring to a planned satellite launch by Pyongyang next month, which many fear is a disguised missile test. Thoughts on this now from Stephen Lendman, current affairs radio host and author. Stephen, hello. Barack Obama says North Korea will achieve nothing by threats or provocations. Interesting he says that. How would you assess his comments about punishment?
Oh, it's typical Obama, Kevin. Always a delight to be on here with you. Typical Obama. Doesn't matter whether he's in Asia, in Africa, in America, in Europe. He is saber-rattling. He is complaining about other nations. What on earth is wrong with North Korea or anybody else advancing their technology? In this case, North Korea wants to launch a satellite. Now, can you imagine if a Western country wanted to launch a satellite, that Washington would claim they're belligerent? They're testing new weapons. They're really developing long-range missiles. They have belligerence in mind. But Washington would never do that. But North Korea has been a target of Washington for decades, since the end of World War II.
Now, of course, the backdrop to all this as well, the nuclear summit kicking off on Monday, but Barack Obama arrived earlier in the day and visited that demilitarized zone between the two Koreas, heavily militarized as it is, along a number of meetings that he held there. What are America's interests in the region right now? Can you sum it up for us briefly?
Oh, I can sum it up in one word: China. China. China is the growing juggernaut. Economically, give it a half a dozen years, it'll equal or surpass America. Can you imagine the fears in corporate boardrooms? China, the world's #1 economic power. China is also a very, very potent military power. Obama made a speech a few months ago. He highlighted two parts of the world that America needs to beef up its presence. Beef it up. The Middle East, it's not beefed up enough. Obama wants to beef it up more. And the other area he cited was East Asia. He had one country in mind, and that's China. China knows it. America is positioning troops, Marines, I believe, in Australia, about 2,500. They're building a very controversial naval base on Jeju Island in Korea. Koreans have been protesting for months about this. They want nothing to do with it. China knows what's going on. China's the target. Korea is the punching bag.
Stephen, a couple of quick last questions for you. It looks like there's an unwillingness to talk on all sides. Then why and who's benefiting from this standoff? Well, you kind of just answered it just now, but they want this one asked, so I'm going to ask it. Why? Who's benefiting most?
Well, Washington hopes it'll benefit most. It needs threats, Kevin. North Korea is a very easy threat. It's a repressive regime. It's reclusive. It's so easy to call North Korea a threat to the region. North Korea hasn't threatened anybody since it became North Korea, when they were divided, which never should have happened. That was a Soviet-Russia-U.S. deal. It was a terrible idea. Vietnam was divided. They came back together again after a 30-year war. The so-called Korean War in 1950, Kevin, North Korea didn't begin that. South Korea began it. That was Truman's war. Kim Il-sung was blamed for it. He responded to South Korea's attacks. But you'd never get the people I call the scoundrel media, either back then or now, to tell the story right. Well, the war against Korea never ended, Kevin. It goes on daily, and now it's about food. Stop developing your technology, or we'll let your people starve to death. We'll cancel the food deal that we agreed to make with you and send food for starving people. So the ordinary Korean people, North Korean people, are in the middle of this battle, Kevin, and it goes on, whether it's North Korea, whether it's Iran, whether it's Syria, same thing.
Stephen, we had a lot of viewers that wanted that question asked, so I've asked it, and I kind of assumed that would be the answer. Thanks for putting it so succinctly. Stephen Lendman there, radio host and author. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Kevin.